Hello and welcome on in. This is Denver Sports' The Rundown. Today's October 10th, or no, not 10th. What is it? 3rd? 4th? October 3rd. Sorry about that, guys. Friday, we got a big weekend in Denver sports coming here. We got the Broncos in action. We got the Buffs in action. But first, I want to give a quick shout out to our guys over at Denver Regenerative Medicine. If weight loss has been a struggle, it's time for something real. At Denver Regenerative Medicine, they use full-strength GLP-1 medications with doctor oversight. Start today for a free consultation. Real results for under $300 a month. Book now at denverregen.com. Shout out to our guys over at Denver Regenerative Medicine. Like I alluded to earlier, we got a big weekend in Denver sports. Started off a little weird last night. We had the Avalanche out at the Rams and 49ers game. You can see the picture on the screen here. All of those guys out in their Rams jerseys, apparently. And who better to talk about that with than our very own DenverSports.com's Will Peterson, host of the Mile High Hockey podcast. Will, how are you doing?
I'm great, Dante. I'm better than ticked off Avs and Broncos fans. How are you?
Rarely does Twitter 100% agree on something, and last night it felt like almost everybody agreed. What the heck are the Avalanche doing? Rocking their Rams jerseys. I get it's all under the Kroenke umbrella, and I'm sure that's the reason why that happened. But what were your thoughts on that picture and all the negative attention it's receiving?
Well, maybe I'm the guy that doesn't agree then, because I don't understand why everyone's all totally up in arms about this. I'll give you 3 reasons why. First of all, it's not like the Broncos and Rams is some big rivalry. They didn't show up in Raiders jerseys. They didn't show up in Chiefs jerseys. The Broncos and Rams play once every 4 years, something like that. Unless they meet in the Super Bowl, which they haven't, it's not that big a deal. 2, you alluded to it. The guy who pays them millions of dollars owns the LA Rams. They were clearly under the Kroenke umbrella. They got custom jerseys. Cale Makar was wearing 8. Gabriel Landeskog was wearing 92. McKinnon was wearing 29. And then 3, where were they the night before? They were in Las Vegas. Better to go to LA and hang out, a close-knit group, team bonding, than it is to go party another night in Vegas as the slog of the preseason continues before they head to Dallas. So by all those 3 reasons, I don't understand the outrage. I think the original tweet's up to like 3.5, 4 million views on Twitter. So this is not just a Denver thing. This has bled into all the people that are mad that Stan Kroenke took the St. Louis Rams and moved them to LA. Blues Twitter is having a field day with this as a quote-unquote rival of the Avalanche. This story has taken on a life of its own, but it doesn't bother me. I don't think Landeskog and McKinnon and Makar talked to each other and said, well, guys, if we put these jerseys on, it's really going to tick off Broncos fans. That thought didn't cross their mind. Everyone calm down. Oh, my goodness. People are acting like they went out there in Mahomes jerseys at a Broncos-Chiefs game.
So that was in Val Nichushkin in a Stetson Bennett Rams jersey. That was custom on the back there.
Good pull. Yes, I think that was Big Val's own number 13 right there.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense. I'm sure the Rams aren't. I'm sure the Stetson Bennett jerseys aren't flying off the shelves there for the Rams. I'm with you on that. I think people are making a little too big of a deal out of it. It's, again, we spoke about it. It's the Kroenke ownership group. It's the guy that pays their, gives them their paychecks. It's the same guy that owns the Rams. And you're right. It's not some big rivalry here. I saw some tweets about, Broncos fans were rooting for the Rams when Von Miller got traded there to win this Super Bowl. So I think it's much to do about nothing. But let's transition here to the Broncos. They got a big test this weekend, taking on the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles out there in Philadelphia. Big challenge for them. Can they dethrone them? I know we brought it up earlier on Denver Sports tonight this week when I said, are we sure the Broncos aren't the better team? There's a lot of stats I'll dive into here that maybe says otherwise, that maybe the Broncos are the better team heading into this matchup. We can start off with the spread is 3.5 points, and I'm sure you're well aware the home team usually is worth about 3 points in itself. So, just based on that alone, it does seem like this is a fairly even match. Do you see it that way, or do you see the Broncos as some big underdog here?
Well, I mean, listen, Philly knows how to win football games, right? They've proven that time and time again. The defending champs, they're 4-0 this year. All 4 wins are in one-score games, but they had no business beating the Rams. Speaking of the Rams, the way that game ended, blocking the field goal and then taking it the other way to mess up the spread. They could have lost to the Cowboys on opening night when Dallas showed up and played a pretty darn good game. The Bucs had a monster comeback against them to make that really interesting last Sunday. You got A.J. Brown sending out all kinds of cryptic social media posts and tweets, and I can't say his life's going to get any better this weekend going against Pat Surtain. So there are a lot of factors in the Broncos' favors other than Philly puts up dubs, and what have the Broncos done in their 2 close games this year? Not only have they lost them, they've gagged them. They've totally gagged them away. Should have beaten the Colts, choked. Should have beaten the Chargers, choked. So Dante, if it's tied in the 4th quarter on Sunday, I know everyone and their friends, whether you're at someone's house or a bar or a restaurant or whatever, you're going to say, we got this, we got this. But do you really believe they got it? Or is that just your inner Broncos fan saying they got it? Until Denver proves to me they can close out a tough game, I have to give the edge to Philadelphia. I also think what scares me is Philly's going to look for a get-right game at some point. They haven't been real satisfied with how they've won, and that's super greedy, but when you're the champs, you're allowed to be greedy. They may want to win with some style points, much like we saw the Broncos want to do against the Bengals last week. I don't know. I just get a little bit of Baltimore last year vibes in this game. Tough opponent, East Coast. Put it this way, I just hope it's close early, because if it's not, I think Sean's going to panic. I think Bo's going to throw the ball way too many times if the Broncos get down. I'm really hoping when we look up about 11:30 end of that first quarter, it's either tied or the Broncos have a small lead.
Yeah, definitely. And we've seen the Eagles are great at playing with a lead. Most of their wins come that way. They're able to run the ball very well. They're able to play great defense, get after the quarterback. So I think it's very important, like you said there, that it's close, tied or, small lead for the Broncos in that 4th quarter. So they're, able to play from ahead, make Philly throw the ball, which they have not been that great at, which is where I'm going to go here with some of these numbers. The Broncos have the better rushing offense by about 30 yards per game. They have the better passing offense by about 70 yards per game. The Eagles surprisingly come in at 31st in the NFL as far as yards per game. So, pretty surprising there as far as how inept they've been. Jalen Hurts throwing the ball. I know they didn't have a completion 0 for 8 in the second half last week. The Broncos have the better rushing defense in terms of allowing run yards per game by about 25 yards. They also have the better pass defense, allowing 20 yards less in the air per game. So a lot of factors pointing towards the Broncos. However, there is one that is a little bit more in the Eagles' favor. Their red zone efficiency has been elite, 11 for 11. However, the Broncos are pretty good themselves in red zone defensive efficiency. So it looks like a bit of a rubber meets the road there. Do you think the Broncos defense will continue to do that bend, don't break, or will Philadelphia continue to be able to score, when they reach the red zone like we've seen 100% of the time this season?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's probably the question that decides this football game, honestly, because they are going to bend. That's just what Vance Joseph's defense does. They bend. But will they break? They've been good at not doing that this year, but also they haven't faced the tush push, the brotherly shove, whatever you want to call it. It's the most controversial play in football. It's also perhaps the most effective play in football, given those numbers you just outlined for our viewers. When Philly gets in the red zone, they score because they either score on the tush push, they line up in tush push formation and flip it to Saquon Barkley like they did last week against the Buccaneers. Or if it's 4th and 1 from the 11, a lot of teams are just going to say, well, we got to take the points. We got to kick the field goal. Philly's going, we're not taking any points. We're getting 2 yards by pushing, first down, and then they score a couple of plays later, get 6 in the end zone. So that literally may be on Monday what we're talking about with this game. Either the Broncos figured out the tush push and won, or like so many other teams, it burned them and they lost. I know DJ Jones had kind of the viral quote that I can't say here, but he just said, you got to man up. Let's put it more or less that way for Denver to stop this thing. But no, my gut is it'll still be effective because no one else has been able to stop it. So how is Denver in 4 days of prep going to be able to stop it? This isn't the Cowboys, the Giants, or the Commanders that see them twice a year. This is a total one-off game for the Broncos. I get it. I know they've been working on it, but if people had been working on it, Philly wouldn't still be doing it because they wouldn't be so damn good at it. So my gut is that Philly tush pushes effectively, and that's the problem with bend but don't break. It works against the Titans and the Bengals. can't let Philly inside the 20 because more often than not, it's going to be a touchdown than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen that all season from them. We've seen a bigger emphasis on refereeing the play itself. That could come into account. Maybe we get a false start, something like that from the Eagles could help them, help the Broncos out in that situation. But I'm with you. I don't see the Broncos being the first team here to be able to stop the tush push after we've, seen every other team struggle with it. Teams that have seen them multiple times in a season, teams that have seen them in the playoffs repeatedly. So I would be very surprised if the Broncos have some, magical way to be able to stop this. It almost seems like it comes down to just, pure luck at that point if they are. And then along with the tush push, another X factor I have written down here is the special teams. The Eagles have taken huge advantage of their special teams, blocking a punt for a touchdown, blocking a field goal for a touchdown in the win against the Rams. We saw that. And the Broncos have struggled with their special teams this season and last season, going back to that Chiefs game with the blocked field goal. So do you see the special teams being a, everyone always laughs about 1/3 of the game, but do you see it being, close to that 1/3 of the game in terms of how important it is going to be to the result?
Oh, I think it's going to be a huge factor for sure, because you're right. The Eagles have excelled at that part of the game. Every time you're watching Red Zone, it feels like the Eagles are doing something nuts on a field goal or a punt or whatever. And the Broncos have really struggled. And Sean Payton's made changes at his coordinator position, and it still hasn't seemed to help. I mean, they literally lost the game because of a leverage penalty on special teams. That kick from the Colts kicker was not only short, it was right. Like, if you don't leverage, you'll win 28-26, and we're talking about a 3-1 football team. So Darren Rizzi's been a big disappointment as the special teams coordinator. I know he's, says wacky things, and he was the Saints interim coach, but the guy hasn't showed me yet that he can turn this unit around. So hopefully this weekend is the start of it. And you mentioned that Chiefs game. Sean Payton at his presser yesterday, Dante, brought up the Chiefs game. Like, you still don't think they think about that one, even though it was, 300 days ago or whatever the math is at this point, the disaster in Arrowhead on a 35-yard field goal. So you can bet they were spending a ton of time, particularly on protections. You absolutely cannot get a field goal blocked. You can't get an extra point blocked, and you sure as heck can't get a punt blocked. I know those games or those things feel like givens, but in this game, those three things being clean could go a long way towards whether or not Denver can pull the upset.
Yeah, and let's hope the Broncos' extra emphasis on it is able to mitigate those, bad plays that we've seen from the Broncos, as you spoke to against the Colts and to the Chiefs there. But I do see that playing a big factor if the Broncos are not able to shore up some of those issues that we've seen the past couple of years. And I won't ask for an outright result for you, but let's go with the Broncos win if blank shines on Sunday.
Well, I think two players come to mind. The Broncos win if Riley Moss shines, because let's be honest, Devontae Smith's going to get a heck of a lot of targets in this football game. If PS2 shuts down A.J. Brown, it's going to come down to Smith, maybe even a Dallas Goedert as well at the tight end position. So Riley Moss got to play like a CB2. He struggled early last week. I know everyone's giving him his flowers, but that first quarter wasn't real pretty for Riley Moss until the Bengals offense completely fell apart. So I'll say Riley Moss, and then on offense, it's J.K. Dobbins. The problem is, I think J.K. Dobbins is going to shine if Sean Payton gives him the football. And we don't know if Sean Payton's going to give him the football, and sort of goes to what I alluded to earlier. If it's 10-0 Eagles, 14-0 Eagles, Bo Nix is going to throw the football 40, 45 times. That's just how Sean is. We're in year 3 of this guy. It's no longer making a prediction. It's based on evidence. It's based on facts. That's how he coaches football games. So I'll go Moss and Dobbins, with Dobbins being a big old fingers crossed he gets 15 to 20 carries, but that's by far the Broncos' best path to a victory.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to answer my own question here as well. I won't double down on any of your answers, but on defense, I'm going to go Alex Singleton. I think he has to have a big game stopping Saquon Barkley. He might be in coverage against Dallas Goedert, you spoke to there as well. Goddard caught a couple of touchdowns just a week ago, so he's a big part of that offense. And a little bit of a Jalen Hurts safety blanket as he struggled finding his wide receivers this season so far. So I think Alex Singleton has to have a great game. make a lot of those tackles before they get to the second level, before the safeties and corners are making those tackles on Saquon Barkley or Jalen Hurts. Alex Singleton could be a candidate to spy Jalen Hurts this season or this game on Sunday. Jalen Hurts loved to escape the pocket, extend plays, extend drives. He's a bit of a bigger guy, not the quickest. So I think hopefully Alex Singleton should be able to keep up with him. But we've seen the Broncos struggle with that this year in terms of coverage and spying quarterbacks. So I look for that to be a big key on the Broncos defense. And then offensively, it's the easy answer. I'm going to go Bo Nix. I think Sean Payton's going to put Bo Nix and he's going to give him the opportunity to go out and win this game for the Broncos. I liked your answer of J.K. Dobbins as well. I just assume at this point, we've seen it through 4 games, J.K. Dobbins has had pretty solid games each and every week. I assume that will continue into this week, given Sean Payton. Hopefully he is giving Dobbins the opportunities that we see out there. But I think Nix is going to have to make some throws. I think he's going to have to connect on some of those deep balls that we've seen some misconnections against the Chargers specifically. But I just, be accurate with the ball, possess the ball. Time possession is going to be very important. The Eagles like to go on those long drives because they run the ball so well and they're so dominant. And as we spoke about the tush push earlier in the game, a lot of those 4th and 1s, extend drives, even if it's at the 50 or their own 40, they're going to go for those because they feel so confident in that play. So the Broncos offense needs to match that ability to possess the ball and extend those drives, keep their own defense off the field and fresh. So I'm going to go Nix and Singleton for my answers. And that'll do it for Will. Will, I appreciate you joining us today. We will be back on Monday. Or, I'm going to do a little Buffs here by myself, but Will, I appreciate it. If you want to give a score position or prediction, go ahead. But if not, all good.
No, I'm just going to wear my Philadelphia Flyers jersey on Sunday, Dante.
Yeah, I think Broncos country would have had a bigger issue with that one versus the Rams.
Appreciate you having me. We'll catch you soon, brother.
Absolutely, Will. All right. Thank you for Denver Sports' Will Peterson for joining us, breaking down the Avs. A little controversy there as well as the Broncos. And I will go solo here to finish up as we have the Buffs in action tomorrow night, 5:30 on Fox. They have had some issues as of late. They dropped 0-2 in the conference, losing to BYU and Houston, looking to get off that slide. They got a tough opponent this weekend down in Fort Worth, taking on TCU. I got a firsthand look at Josh Hoover, their quarterback for TCU last week. Beautiful thrower of the football. I would put him up there with, Dante Moore in terms of best quarterbacks in the country at this point, in terms of what they project at the NFL level as well. Not too much of a runner, which the Buffs have struggled with this year so far with BYU's Bear Bachmeier. As well as Haynes King at Georgia Tech there. So hopefully the Buffs won't have to struggle with a running quarterback, a dual threat quarterback. Hoover is more of a pick you apart from the pocket kind of guy. So we'll see. The Buffs secondary hasn't been great. Nothing on the Buffs has been great this year. So let's just be honest about that. This could be the, Caden Salter's coming out party if he's able to, get in a shootout with this TCU offense. I don't imagine this game being low scoring. I don't imagine the Buffs defense being able to contain TCU's offense too much. So I think the Buffs offense and Caden Salter specifically is going to have a great game, put up, let's call it upper 20s into the 30s points wise for the Buffs to get a win, going in as 13.5-point underdogs into Fort Worth. So big challenge in front of them. But Deion loves the spotlight. It's people are counting them out. It's on national television. So a lot of eyeballs. And it's a rematch of the game we saw in Deion's first win with CU, where Travis Hunter had that incredible interception. Shadur Sanders threw for all kinds of yards in that game as well. So should be a good one for the Buffs as they look to, gain their first win within the conference and hopefully spring them forward going into the rest of their conference play here. It has not been great, but again, there is a huge opportunity here. TCU, a very good football team. I would not count out CU. I think they've been in a lot of these games. I know their record's not great to this point, but outside of the Houston game, they've been in the game and had the opportunity to win these games. So We'll see. Should be a good one. I'm going to go real quick on before we head out. I'll give my predictions. I got the Broncos winning. I got them 27-26. Nail biter. I think their defense makes one stop at the end of the game to seal that for them. And then the Buffs, I don't have them in the win column, but I have them in a very respectable loss. I'm going to go they lose 28 I'll say they lose 34-28. So one possession game once again, maybe something to build on going forward. Caden Salter looks pretty good as they put up some points there, but just not quite enough. And I think the Buffs defense will be a little exposed as we've seen a couple times this year. Just not quite able to keep up with the high efficiency of the TCU passing offense. But should be a great weekend of Denver sports between the Broncos and Buffs. Looking forward to that. We'll have all kinds of reaction on Monday on 104.3 The Fan and Denver Sports here and on the Rundown. So look forward to that. But for now, that will do it. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll see you back on Monday. I do what I love what I do is second nature.